The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything. Albert Einstein. Imagine for a moment, standing on the edge of a world on fire. You watch the flames rise higher, the smoke thickening in the air, and yet still you do nothing. What if, in that moment, the real enemy isn't the fire itself, but the silent observer who chooses to look away? This is what Albert Einstein was trying to tell us. It's not the actions of the evil that threatens us most, but our passive indifference to it. The harm we allow when we choose to ignore what's wrong, when we stay silent, when we don't speak up, or when we turn a blind eye. This is where destruction begins. We live in a world that's constantly asking for our attention. From the endless notifications on our phones to the breaking news stories we scroll past, there's always something demanding our time. But here's the catch. In the midst of all this noise, we often find ourselves overwhelmed, unsure of where to direct our energy. So, we choose not to act. We assume the problem is too big, too far away, or simply not our responsibility. This quote from Einstein, however, speaks directly to this tendency. It's easy to look at the world's problems and feel small, powerless even. We tell ourselves, it's not my job to fix this, or someone else will take care of it. And that's exactly where the danger lies. The real threat is not just the injustice happening around us, but the indifference we feel, the apathy we choose. By choosing to remain silent or inactive, we contribute to the very destruction we fear, connecting to real-life struggles. Think about a moment in your life when you felt overwhelmed by a challenge or a situation that didn't seem right. Maybe it was a conversation you overheard in the office where someone was being mistreated. Perhaps it was a friend who was silently struggling with anxiety, and you chose not to say anything, thinking they'll be fine. Or maybe it was a political or social issue where you didn't speak up because it felt like your voice wouldn't matter. These moments aren't isolated. They are reflections of a much bigger issue we face as a society. The habit of staying quiet in the face of wrongdoing. How can we fight indifference? It's easy to point out the problem, seeing evil or injustice without doing anything. But how do we actually take action in our own lives? How can we begin to make a difference when the world feels so vast and we feel so small? 1. Start with your inner circle. Often we think that making a difference means having to take on a grand cause or make a huge change. But in reality, it begins with the small, seemingly insignificant moments. It's about noticing when someone is struggling, whether it's a colleague who's overwhelmed, a family member in emotional pain, or a friend facing a personal crisis, and simply speaking up. Sometimes, the most powerful thing we can do is offer a listening ear, show compassion, or ask a simple question. How are you really doing? 2. Speak your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Speaking out can feel risky. It can feel uncomfortable, especially when we fear backlash or confrontation. But in the long run, it's far more destructive to stay silent when we know something isn't right. Whether it's standing up for what's right in your workplace, voicing your opinion about a societal issue, or even challenging harmful beliefs among friends, your voice matters. It doesn't have to be a dramatic declaration. It can be a quiet, steady insistence on truth and justice. 3. Take responsibility for your role. Indifference is not just about ignoring external problems. It's also about ignoring our role in shaping the world around us. When we take ownership of our actions and the way we contribute or fail to contribute to the world, we begin to change things from the inside out. Perhaps it's making a small change in your daily habits, like supporting a cause you believe in, choosing products that align with your values, or volunteering your time. No action is too small. It's the accumulation of small actions that makes a huge difference. Embrace the uncomfortable conversations. The reality is that it's easy to stay silent because facing uncomfortable truths takes courage. But when we have difficult conversations, whether it's confronting our own biases, questioning societal norms, or challenging those we love, we plant the seeds for a better world. The key is to approach these conversations with kindness and a willingness to listen, not just speak. Meet Sarah. She's in her late 30s, living in a bustling city, working in a mid-level managerial position. She's someone who prides herself on being neutral and keeping the peace. On the outside, Sarah seems confident, composed, and in control of her life. But beneath that surface, there's a quiet struggle. One day, while having lunch in the office break room, Sarah overhears a conversation. A colleague, Jane, is being subtly but unmistakably criticized for her work in a way that feels personal, not just professional. It's not the first time Sarah has heard Jane being talked about behind her back, but this time, it's different. The words cut deep, and Jane seems to shrink in front of everyone. Sarah looks around. Most of her coworkers are pretending not to hear. Some are even smiling awkwardly. The room feels heavy with silence. Sarah feels the tension, but she doesn't know what to do. Her heart races, her palms sweat, and she thinks to herself, should I say something? No, maybe it's not my place. Jane can handle this. I'm sure she's used to it. Sarah doesn't speak up. She stays quiet, watches as Jane leaves the room, holding her head low. Days pass, and Sarah can't shake the image of Jane's face. The vulnerability, the pain, the guilt starts to creep in. Sarah knows she could have done something, anything, to support Jane in that moment. But she chose silence. One night, as she lies awake, Sarah remembers the words of Einstein. The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything. For the first time, she sees how her own silence was part of the problem. In her attempt to avoid discomfort, she became complicit in the harm. The next day, Sarah decides to take action. She walks up to Jane in the office and gently says, I'm really sorry you had to experience that. If you ever want to talk, or if you need someone to stand by you, I'm here. Jane looks up, surprised but grateful, and they have a quiet, honest conversation. It's not dramatic, but it's real. Sarah realizes that by speaking up, she's not just defending Jane. She's reclaiming her own sense of responsibility and humanity. From that day on, Sarah starts taking more conscious steps to speak out when she sees injustice, whether it's big or small. She doesn't have all the answers, but she begins to trust that every act of courage, no matter how small, matters. Sarah's story wasn't about making a grand gesture or solving all of the world's problems in one day. It was about taking responsibility for the small moments where silence could cause harm. In life, we often feel like the weight of the world is too much for us to carry. We look at the bigger picture, the global issues, the systemic problems, and we wonder, what can one person do? The truth is, one person can do a lot. Every time we choose to speak up, to stand beside someone who is struggling, to act when others turn away, we change the world just a little. The world doesn't need us to be heroes. It needs us to be awake, to be aware, to notice when something is wrong, and rather than turning away, to do something, no matter how small. Think about it for a moment. How many times have we watched something happen and done nothing because it felt like too much? Maybe it was a friend struggling in silence, a moment of injustice, or even your own sense of being overwhelmed by life's challenges. But what if your silence was part of the problem? What if your small action, your courage, could be the spark that changes someone else's world? What if, by speaking up, you not only helped them, but you helped yourself too? When we stop watching passively, we find a deeper sense of clarity. It's in these small moments of action that we gain a true understanding of our power. We have the ability to help create the world we want to live in, simply by choosing to not look away. As we come to the end of this conversation, I want to leave you with a thought. What will you do today? Each day is a chance to choose whether we remain passive or whether we stand up in the small, quiet moments that matter. The world may seem overwhelming, but remember, it's in the choices we make, in the actions we take, that we shape the future. So, as you move forward today, ask yourself, where can I speak up? Where can I be the change I wish to see? If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What's one moment where you've seen evil, injustice, or pain and done something about it? Share it with me in the comments below. I'd love to learn from your experience. And if you know someone who could use this reminder today, someone who needs to hear that their voice matters, please share this video with them. Let's continue spreading the message that silence is no longer an option. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Every week, we'll dive into topics like this, offering deeper reflections, emotional stories, and practical advice for living a life of purpose and courage. Thank you for taking the time to reflect with me today. You matter, your voice matters, and the world is waiting for you to speak up.